Emily Parker's hands tightened around the handlebars of her bike as she rolled toward the rusted front gates of Lincoln Middle School. The September morning air was crisp, but inside, her chest felt heavy, like a storm cloud pressing down. She was the new girl again. Her family had moved more times than she could count, town to town, base to base. Her father, Captain Daniel Parker, served in Delta Force, the unit so secret and so dangerous. Most people didn't even believe it existed. Emily wasn't allowed to talk about what her dad did, not even to her closest friends, and that made her life lonelier than most kids could imagine. She coasted closer to the gate, pretending not to notice the group of kids already watching her. 3 boys and 2 girls, leaning against the fence with lazy grins that weren't friendly. Emily recognized that look immediately. She had seen it in almost every school before this, only the look of kids who searched for someone smaller, quieter, new, someone to target. Nice wheels, one of the boys sneered, stepping into her path. He was taller, with the mop of curly hair under a cap. His friends laughed as if he had told the funniest joke in the world. Emily braked sharply. "Can you move, please?" she asked, keeping her voice calm. Her heart was pounding, but she remembered her father's words. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about acting even when you're scared. "Move." The boy mimicked her voice in a high-pitched tone. "You hear that, guys? The new girl thinks she can order us around." Another girl with heavy eyeliner folded her arms. "You're not getting through unless you answer some questions. Where you from? Why you riding in here like you owned the place?" Emily swallowed. She wanted to say, "I'm from everywhere. I don't own anything," but she bit her tongue. She thought of her dad again. His presence was steady even when he wasn't home. He had taught her discipline, and not to lash out first, but also not to back down when something mattered. "Just let me park my bike," Emily said softly. But the bullies spread wider, blocking her way completely. That's when something unexpected happened. A teacher's whistle shrieked across the courtyard, and the bullies quickly stepped aside, grumbling as Emily pushed through with her bike. But as she walked toward the racks, she could feel the rise burning into her back. This wasn't over. Inside the school, Emily tried to shake off the encounter, but the weight of it clung to her all day. Teachers were kind. Some students gave her curious smiles, but she knew those kids at the gate were waiting for the moment they could corner her again without anyone watching. At lunch, she sat alone, pushing food around her tray. Her phone buzzed with a message from her dad. Just 3 words. "How's it going?" Emily stared at the screen. She wanted to say everything of the fear, the loneliness, the bully answer, but she typed back, "Fine," because that's what she always said. Her dad was thousands of miles away, in places he couldn't even name. She didn't want to burden him with her battles. What she didn't know was that this first day was only the beginning of a test. Not a test of math or history, a test of spirit. And Emily Parker was about to. The next morning, Emily woke early. She tied her shoelaces with deliberate care, her stomach twisting with nerves. She remembered her father's training sessions in their backyard, how he had shown her breathing exercises, simple self-defense moves, and most of all how to stand tall, even when fear tried to shrink you. "Never let them see you small, he had said, kneeling so his eyes met hers. "You're my daughter. You're stronger than you know." As she pedaled toward the school again, she already saw Thema, the same group from yesterday, waiting at the gate like wolves who had scented their prey. This time, they didn't just block her. They formed a tight circle, hemming her in. "Well, look who's back," the curly-haired boy grinned. "Thought you could sneak past us again?" Emily's fingers tightened on her handlebars. "I don't want trouble." "Oh, but you found it," another boy said, kicking the front wheel of her bike. Emily took a deep breath. Her father's voice whispered in her mind, when cornered, "Remember, your strength is not in fighting, it's in refusing to break." She dismounted her bike slowly, eyes steady. "If you're trying to scare me," she said, her voice clear, "it's not working." The bullies blinked, momentarily thrown off. They were used to tears, stammers, kids shrinking away. But Emily stood firm, shoulders squared. The girl with eyeliner smirked. Big talk for someone all alone. Emily's heart thudded, but she didn't flinch. "I'm not alone." For a second, the bullies glanced around, confused. "I carry my dad with me," Emily continued softly, but with steel in her tone. "He's a soldier. He taught me that bullies are just scared people pretending to be strong." The words landed like a stone in still water. Curly hair laughed, but it was shaky. "Oh yeah, your dad gonna come fight us?" "No," Emily said, meeting his eyes. "I don't need him to." Something in her gaze made them falter. It wasn't bravado. It wasn't fake confidence. It was real. She wasn't playing their game. Then, another voice broke through. "Hey, leave her alone." A boy from her class, small and wiry, stepped out from behind the racks. He had been watching, and now he gathered his own courage. A moment later, two more kids joined him. Suddenly, the bullies weren't facing one quiet girl. They were facing a line, a wall of kids who had decided they'd had enough. The leader muttered something under his breath and shoved his hands into his pockets. "Whatever, not worth it." One by one, they scattered, leaving the gate wide open. Emily exhaled slowly, her hands trembling slightly, but her chin high. She locked up her bike and turned to the kids who had stepped in. "Thanks," she said. The wiry boy shrugged. "You were brave first. That's why we followed." That night, Emily texted her dad, "Today was hard, but I was strong, just like you taught me." And for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel small. She felt exactly who she was, the daughter of a Delta Force soldier, yes, but more importantly, a girl who had found her own courage. Find out just how strong she truly was